Hello everyone. So now that I'm back to making Red Dead videos, I've recently been thinking about all the things that I love about Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm not talking about the glaringly obvious things like the incredible story, beautiful graphics, and amazing characters. I've been thinking more about all the little things that happen while playing this game, and all combined together, they're as important as the big things to love in this game. So I've come up with a list of all these small things that I love doing in Red Dead, love seeing in Red Dead, and just love about Red Dead 2. For a lot of them, I'm just going to list them off because they don't need much further explanation, but for some, I'll expand on why I like them so much. First up is the greet and Antagonise system. This doesn't get nearly enough praise. Being able to interact with literally every single person you meet is something that, as someone who's always loved playing open world games, I've always wanted. To my knowledge, Red Dead 2 is the first game to offer this feature, or at least the first to offer as many things you can say to NPCs you meet across the map. In other games, NPCs are just sort of there to fill the open space of the map and make the world feel less lonely, but in Red Dead you can have full-blown conversations with the NPCs that you see roaming around the world. And by far the best thing about this system is the greet Antagonise combo, where you greet the NPC, say a conversation starter, and then Arthur just tears into them, and what he says is related to the second greet he said. There's tons of these combos you can do, and they never fail to make me piss myself. It's one thing when you do the general Antagonise, but when it relates to what you just said before, it's just comedy gold.
Hey, partner.
Sir? How you doing? Things could be better. Whoa, I don't really give a damn. Hey, I ain't saying nothing.
Number 2, the way that the title screen changes depending on where you are in game. Number 3, the amount of different interactions there are. Whether it's in towns, out in the country, or in camp, the amount of interactions there are between NPCs or between NPCs and yourself is crazy. I've got over 700 hours in this game, and I'm still getting certain encounters for the first time, and every time I go into YouTube I see an interaction at camp that I hadn't seen before. There's so many that I'm convinced that we'll never see every single interaction that's in this game, and that just makes me want to play it even more. Number 4, how the character's dialogue gets louder when you're farther away from them. Number 5, just how many different lines of dialogue there are. Similar to the one about interactions, there's just a ridiculous amount of dialogue in this game. Over 500,000 lines of dialogue were recorded for Red Dead 2, and it shows. If you take out a different gun, pick up a hat from the ground, knock someone out instead of killing them, if you've done something before that mission that's impacted the characters, if you approach the mission in any other way, there's a line of dialogue for it. For example, here I'm doing a bounty on a Lemoyne raider that has been available since chapter 2, and at the time I was in chapter 4, so Arthur said,
Hey, what? Don't like talking to you folk normally, but you're a Lemoyne raider, right? So I thought I'd say, I'm bunking at your old place at the moment. Shady Belle?
What? You the fellers that took the bell? You murdering animals! You savage Yankee bastards! You'll get your comeuppance, all right?
You know, I ain't sure that we will.
That's such a minuscule little thing to include, but it's the tiny details like that that make the characters and the world feel real. It's not like in other games where the characters have their head in the sand as to what's going on around them and they say the same thing in the same manner over and over again. The characters are actually aware of what is going on in the world around them, and it truly does make the world feel alive. Number 6, using keybinds to equip weapons. This is something I've only recently started doing, and I should have been doing this way earlier. Since I'm on PC, I can bind keys to take out any of the guns that I have on me instead of opening the weapons menu and selecting the gun I want to use that way. You might think that the second or two it takes to open the menu and select your gun isn't a big deal, but trust me, when you're in gunfights, it feels so much better to switch seamlessly to your different weapons and not having to take yourself out of the gunfight at all, however short it might be. And it's also great because it doesn't interrupt the dialogue of the characters or the music. If you're on console, unfortunately you can't do this, but if you're on PC, I'd highly recommend giving this a go, and once you get it down, it makes the gunfights so much more satisfying. Number 7, how nature interacts. Bears scratching their backs on trees, wolves playing with one another, vultures swooping down to feast on dead animals, cats scratching wooden posts, bucks fighting against each other, the list goes on. The amount of ways nature interacts in this game is endless. And the thing that makes it so incredible in my opinion is that it's very subtle. These animal interactions aren't shoved in your face and they could be happening 100 meters away from you. It makes it feel like a living, breathing world where things happen whether you are near them or not. Number 8, the sunsets and jaw-dropping scenery. Anyone who's played this game can 100% relate to this one. Every time I go on a horse ride, I'm met with this sudden urge to take a screenshot because the landscape and scenery in Red Dead Redemption 2 is second to no other game out there. Every frame of this game could be, no pun intended, but framed in an art gallery or something like that. One of my favourite pastimes in this game is to just look around at the breathtaking scenery. And the thing is, what you're seeing now isn't even as good as it gets. These videos are recorded on my PC, but you can watch videos of this scenery on YouTube from people who have much more powerful PCs than I do, in up to 8K, and it's just unbelievable to watch. Even though the game has been out for PC for over 2 years, you can't believe how beautiful it looks. Number 9, how camp members have coffee in the morning. Number 10, the names given to the missions. This is something I don't see get enough credit. The mission names in Red Dead 2 are one of the smaller brilliant things about this game. They're either dramatic, plays on Bible quotes or common sayings, or funny jokes, and I feel like they always fit the tone of their missions very well. Number 11, the random stranger encounters you come across. Number 12, the ambient soundtrack that plays while roaming around the map. This is one of my very favourite things about this game. It's such a subtle thing that you don't consciously recognise while playing the game, and it's just sort of white noise, but when you actually listen to the different ambient music that plays, it's absolutely beautiful. It's so relaxing, and it's genuinely something I could listen to for hours, even when I'm not playing Red Dead. It differs depending on which state you're in and whether it's night or daytime, and this might just be because I've played the game so long that I've grown to associate certain ambient music with the state that they're played in, but I think that the different ambient music suits the places that they're played in incredibly. Number 13, petting doggies. Number 14, exploring the world. With the vastness of Red Dead Redemption 2's map and how many encounters, places and animals there are to find scattered throughout it, it's impossible for me to just only do the story missions and ignore the free roam. But exploring in this game is so rewarding because you don't have to do it at all. If you want, you can just only do the story missions and you'll be able to complete the full story just fine. But if you take the time to explore the world around you, it gives you a much greater understanding of the different gangs, the animals, the plants, the towns, the peoples, and just in general, the whole world around you. And that, to me, is what makes it so fulfilling. Plus, it's also just really cool to see the various amount of sites there are around the map, and learn more about the history of the different areas. And speaking of history, I love how all the towns have different histories and atmospheres to them. Valentine is the muddy, hard-working livestock town, Rhodes is the most southern-like, red soil town, with lasting impacts from the slave trade and the Civil War, Ansburg is the polluted, dirty mining town. I could list all the different towns, but you get the point. I just love how different all the towns are from each other, and how they all have a unique identity to them. And learning about the history of these towns is very interesting as well. Getting to learn about some of the dark secrets and how the towns came to be is really cool to me. Number 16, how you can spend so long without having to do story missions. There's nothing worse than an open world game where doing anything but the story is a snooze fest. And I'm very glad that that's not the case with Red Dead Redemption 2. There are so many things you can do in this game that have nothing to do with the main story. Hunting, crafting, doing challenges, making outfits, exploring, stranger missions, doing bounties, massacring towns, and that's not even close to all of them. On my first playthrough in 2020, it took me 4 months to complete the main story, and that was not at all from lack of playing, it's because I was keeping myself occupied doing all of these non-story related things. I remember I spent 2 days looking for a single panther in Baldric Glade just so I could use it to craft a saddle for my horse. And even after I fully completed the main story, I was still playing this game every day for the 2 months after it, going for 100%. Even on my second playthrough that I'm doing right now, you'd think that now that I've literally 100%ed the game, I'd only be interested in doing the story again, but no. The majority of time I've spent on my second playthrough as well has been doing non-story activities. And I know I'm saying this for a lot of these things, but this is definitely one of my favourite things in Red Dead Redemption 2. How you can spend hundreds of hours without doing a single story mission. Even with the masterpiece of a story that this game has, it's not solely reliant on it to be the only thing that you do. Number 17, side quests and stranger missions. Pretty much every open world game has side missions and quests that you can do that are unrelated to the main plot, but yet again, Red Dead 2 just does it different. In other games, you often go into these side quests thinking about the rewards you may get from it, whether that be some cash or a new object or ability that you can now unlock. But in Red Dead, that's not the case. I've never gone into a side mission in this game thinking, oh, which rewards will I be getting from doing this one? No, it's always been more about the characters you encounter in them, and the story they have to tell. Whether it be a sad, happy, funny or confusing story, you grow to care for these characters. When they get in trouble, even though you've only known them for a couple of minutes, you'll worry about some of them. And just to clarify, I didn't come up with this point. Someone on Reddit pointed it out and I thought it was a very unique way of looking at the stranger missions, and I thought it was a brilliant point that I'd never really thought of before, and I had to include it in this video. Number 18, looking at the night sky and all the stars that are above you. Number 19, how people notice your change in appearance and comment about it. This is another one of those details that's just satisfying when you experience it, and it reminds you how realistic this world feels. When I first heard how people comment on your appearance, I assumed it would only be the people in towns or the gang members in camp. But one time I just finished a stranger mission with Charlotte, the widow up in Roanoke Ridge, and after I finished I was riding away on my horse when I changed my outfit, and she commented,
"That's an interesting choice of hat, if you don't mind me saying."
Think about that, seriously. On the off chance that you encounter this side mission, which a lot of people don't, and on the off chance that you change your clothing near Charlotte after, Rockstar Games still thought about recording a line for something that would happen to surely less than 1% of players. It just blew my mind. Tiny thing, but blew my mind. Number 20, using photo mode and getting creative with the different angles and adjustments you can make to capture that perfect photo. Number 21, horse bAlLz. Number 22, how honor level impacts dialogue and interactions. The honor system was such a great feature added by Rockstar that significantly impacts the game's story, particularly in the later stages of it. I think that the way it impacts Arthur's dialogue and the interactions he has with other people is not only a really unique thing that I haven't seen done in a game before, but it's also really smart by Rockstar in terms of getting the most playtime out of their players. Because arguably the main thing that people have in mind when going for a new playthrough of Red Dead 2 is what sort of honor are they going to have? Are they going to be a saint, a complete arsehole? Are they going to be an arsehole at the start and then become a saint by the end? Are they going to become a saint at the start and then an arsehole at the end? Or are they just going to sort of float in the middle? I can say that it's one of the main things that I'm thinking of for my next playthrough, because even though the changes in the dialogue are subtle, they're different enough to make it worth playing through the whole story again to experience them. Number 23, the camp parties. Even though they're very few and far between, to my knowledge the only two camp parties in the game is when Sean returns in chapter 2 and when Jack is rescued in chapter 4. The camp parties are such enjoyable moments in Red Dead Redemption 2. They make the gang feel like a family, a real community that truly cares for each other, and the harmony and chemistry in these moments is nothing short of beautiful to see. The campfire songs, the drunken conversations, dancing with other gang members, the other things.
It was an old trick me dad taught me.
They're moments that remind us what the gang is all about, and that despite the questionable morals and personalities that the gang members have, they're all human.
It was diddle all the day. Put my hand upon her toe. Mark well what I do say. She says, young man, you're rather low for the diddle all the day.
I put my finger on her knee.
Well, what I do say.
She says, young man, you're rather free for
Diddle all the day.
Number 24, spinning holstering your revolver like the ultimate cowboy. Number 25, hip firing with the cattleman revolver is just mwah. Number 26, the relationship Arthur has with his horse. When you actually stop and think about it, Arthur is pretty much non-stop talking to his horse. Whenever he gets on it, pats it, feeds it, brushes it, revives it, puts an animal on the back of it, he's always communicating to his horse, and over time, you do build a strong bond with your horse, and it truly does become your most important ally in the world. It's something that you don't really notice while playing the game, but now that I've pointed it out for you, you're going to realise just how much Arthur talks to his horse. And last but most certainly not least, number 27, Arthur singing to himself.
Now I am a prisoner in the Stillwater jail I lie. California man, who unto us befell.
Hell's wrong here.
Bid him go his way, for which I will be sorry until my dying day. To Texas.
So thank you so much for watching this video. I have a lot more things that I love about Red Dead Redemption 2 that I'd love to share, but I decided to do something with this video that I never do, which is to not make one huge video and to split it into two different parts. One reason I did this is because I didn't want the video to be too long, but another reason is because this allows for any of you to comment below your favourite thing about Red Dead Redemption 2, big or small, and I can include it in the next video where I'll be giving even more things I love about Red Dead 2. So yeah, please do comment below literally anything you like about this game, and if I also like it, it'll probably be in the next video. And I'm sorry I haven't posted anything on this channel in nearly 3 weeks, but if you didn't know, the TikTok has been popping the fuck off recently, so I've just been focusing on that. And if you're coming from TikTok and this is your first video of mine that you've watched, welcome. I hope you like my videos enough to subscribe. So thanks again so much for watching this video, like it if you liked, dislike if you didn't, and take care of yourselves.